Today I have the privilege of speaking with Paul Zink. He is the CFO and Senior VP for Rare Element Resources. How are you today, Paul?
I'm fine, thanks, Tracy.
Paul, I'm really delighted to have an opportunity to speak to you. I know you travel a lot around the world. You're very familiar with what's happening with global pricing for rare earths. So I'm just going to start right here with what's happening with pricing in rare earths in our market presently, Paul.
Well, there's been a little bounce, Tracy, since the Chinese government started stockpiling again. It's starting to filter through, it appears, to places like Europe, but it's come off, as you know, a low bottom. The prices have been low for the last year, certainly, year plus even, and we see a lot of pressures building for higher prices, or that should sustain them. You know, the big six Chinese firms that have been designated to consolidate the industry there have reported pretty poor financial results, and they continue to face an escalating cost structure. Their environmental costs are going up, their labor costs are going up, they're mining lower grades. And in fact, I've seen one industry watcher suggest that prices need to be 20% higher just so the Chinese could handle the new environmental rules alone. So we think there's a lot of pressure on these companies to let prices rise, and when you look at China producing 85 to 90% of the world's rare earths and consuming 2/3 of them, obviously whatever they do is going to have a big impact on the global market.
Well, thank you so much for saying out loud what many of us have been speculating behind the scenes. What I really want to know, and I'm sure many of our audience will be delighted to hear the answer to this, is which of these rare earths are most in demand, and which are the rare earths that you see an increasing demand for price pressure happening here in the fall, for instance?
Well, I think I'd probably cite three areas of demand maybe as being the most important. First, the magnet alloys. You know, the rare earth permanent magnets have grown quite a lot. They're critical to miniaturization, to more powerful electric motors. And so things like neodymium, praseodymium, dysprosium, terbium all have a good market in the magnet side. So I think we see magnets continuing to be strong. Secondly, the metal alloys, I think several industry watchers have a good outlook for, and I think we'd agree with them. A lot of them go into battery applications, and with the growth of hybrid cars and large, high capacity storage batteries and the like, I think we see a pretty promising future for those. And then thirdly, although lanthanum I think gets a bad rap as a light rare earth, you know, with all the growth in the middle classes in developing countries buying more cars, you know, we see a growing demand for catalysts, and whether it's the auto emissions catalysts or whether it's the fluid cracking catalysts. As the world produces or processes heavier and more sour crude oils, they need more catalyst, more rare earth catalyst, and that's certainly going to build a lanthanum demand, we think, notwithstanding growing supply for that as well. So I think those three areas we would see probably as the most positive, and I think we're in agreement with most of the industry watchers that we read.
We at InvestorIntel, of course, have been following the magnetic material driver in the market presently. We've also noticed that industry analysts are doing and saying a lot of very good things about long-term forecasts. Can you speak to that, and specifically to the issue of sustainability, specifically because you are one of the leaders and you have your properties in the United States?
We, I think, as many industry watchers, believe that particularly alternative energies and things like wind power, solar power, are going to certainly drive demand for rare earth materials, and particularly magnets. You know, historically, the largest magnet materials, or the largest usage for the magnet materials, were in disk drives and computers. That is changing. The largest lumps, if you will, of rare earths are used in the permanent magnets at the moment that are growing in wind turbine applications. So I think as alternative energies grow, certainly we see a pretty positive outlook for magnets and magnet materials. I also believe, you know, North America, and particularly the United States, has got to be one of, if not the most innovative country in the world. And I think as we expect to be part of the recreation, if you will, of the total supply chain of rare earths outside of China, I would hope that that would certainly promote much more research and innovation and applications in North America. So I think we could see, particularly in magnets, a sort of supply push type demand, supply push instead of demand pull, if you will.
Well, Paul, you've walked me into the next question, which is, of course, how does the Bear Lodge project fit into the supply-demand formula for the future here in the U.S.?
Well, we have a great project, we believe. It's a fantastic resource that's grown, that's improved in its distribution of rare earth materials, particularly as we've found out that instead of a deposit, which we thought we had 3 years ago, let's say, we've got a district, several deposits, including satellite deposits. There's a distinct heavy rare earth zonation, and we have a great distribution, particularly in magnet materials. That is our strength. If I look at the economic impact from what we anticipate our top 4 elements will be from a value basis, 3 of the 4 are magnet materials. So we hope to be a big part of the growth in that market in North America, and expect to be the next North American project in production.
Well, Paul, thank you so much for joining me today.
Pleasure, Tracy. Thanks for having me.